to another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
Yeah, there's no sound, Mike. Yeah, he's tried everything, Big Willie. He probably got it muted again because he likes to hit that little button. I think he's doing that, so I have to host the show by myself.
Testing.
Thanks, Hazel.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me now?
Mike, they don't want to hear you.
Can you hear me now, guys?
I can hear you, but they're
great.
The people are speaking. The people are speaking.
All right.
They don't want to hear you.
Good. Then you need to take over. So let me.
No, man, I ain't got that much energy. Go ahead,
find the. we got to get you up there, buddy. We got to take over the show.
I'm boots on the ground, buddy. Come on, man.
So why don't you tell these guys about a little bit about what you've been up to, your little secret missions and stuff?
Oh man, Operation Shake and Bake. Fuck, almost got arrested yesterday. That's gonna be a fun video, guys. I'm still I haven't even touched the editing on that one yet. But when I go out and do my Tuesday audits, I do like 3 to 4 audits at a time, because it takes time for all my public information requests and FOIAs to come back, and editing videos and such. I'm going to be dropping a little short video, probably about 15 minutes, 13 to 15 minutes long tomorrow. I'm going to premiere that tomorrow night. But got another one. If I can figure out how to download this video from YouTube, I have another one that one's juicy one. I think I found a dirty cop. I don't mean a bad one. I mean a dirty, pervy cop. Dirty, pervy. But got 3 post office audits going. Definitely reactions. I've kind of found the secret to getting a reaction without actually doing anything but walking in quietly, holding a camera. So I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I got 4 audits coming out and 1 dirty pervy cop video that's coming out.
That's pretty cool,
man. You know what? Doing all these live streams with you for a whole month, I forgot how much I miss being boots on the ground, man. I haven't been out the field since last week. I mean, I don't really count cop watch as being out in the field, because I'm just driving around doing my thing, working, and if I see something, I film something. So
yeah, man. Well, I'm glad. So we have a cool little show for you guys tonight. We're going to go over an oldie but a goodie. We're going to go over a Chille DeCastro.
Scrubzilla, you my one love too, brother. My one love.
Let me see here. Yeah. Let me say hi to everybody. So, hey, yeah, Scrubzilla, Ugly Duckling. Yeah, we got to put him up, man. We got to put him on KP duty. Arr! That's pretty funny.
I already felt like I was on restriction, man, not being out there in the field for a month.
We got
you hit your mute button again, dude. Every time you touch your mic, you hit that mute button. Mike, mute button. Mute. Sound. Your mic. I don't think you can. Check the chat. Damn. Oh, there's my girl, Mama Lion. Wow, in the house. Hellos for suckers. So, hey, I'm just going to go say hi to everybody since he's messing around. So, Jody Chille.
A little better, guys. Got some.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say hello to everybody while you were
yeah, say hi to everybody.
spending an hour trying to get your mic working.
Go ahead, say hi to him.
All right, I'm going to start with Chevy because he's at the top as always. Jody Chille, Dwayne Katakofa. I don't even know how to say it. Skywalker 1982. Sociology Applied. Well, I guess that must have been from earlier. Kevin Binareski. Arma with Harmony. I'm guessing that means Army with Harmony. Ugly Duckling. Big Willie. Ugly Duckling. Mama Lion as always. Dot Asha. Scrubzilla, my one love. And see, Big Willie as always. Mikey B, the house. And Rob Murmerman. I think that's pretty much it. We only have 22 people in here tonight.
Yeah. So let me see here. Do I have the screen being shared now? Yeah. So tonight we're going to do kind of an oldie but a goodie. This is back when Chile was among the land of the unfree and the unbrave. And by the way, I'm
the unjust.
I'm unjust. By the way, I'm attorney Michael Ehline, and I'm an attorney licensed in California and Texas. And as a general rule, I try to give my view on the law as a general principle, like they would teach you in law school. But when I give legal advice, it'll be based on California and Texas law. And in this case, we have a lucky instance because it's a Texas case. And this is, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we're going to play it for you. And I'm going to approach it from the point of view of the types of causes of action that the old man's survivors would have civilly, perhaps, or perhaps that the state would have against the officer, coming from the perspective of elder abuse and wrongful death law. So, but we'll get into it, and we'll have BZ make his observations because he's done a lot of face-to-face observations with police because that's what he does. He's a cop watcher and an auditor. And as a team, we'll try to break it down and see where it goes. So here we go.
He's done absolutely nothing wrong.
I'm glad that you are somebody I know.
Exactly what the fuck I mean. Don't go anywhere yet.
I'm going to look for my stuff, young man. What are you doing?
There's a lot more here.
Promoted to sergeant.
Did you hear that?
The encounter continues.
What are they reading him his rights for?
It's going to make you sick.
Everybody, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the like button if you would, please. Hit the like button. It'll just take you a second, and it would mean the world to me. I would appreciate it so much if you just hit the like button. And then let's type down in the comment section, OTVO. Overturn Terry versus Ohio. Put it in the chat for me if you would, please. Let's go ahead and jump right into this video.
I don't think you're going at it right. There we go. Yeah, I got the tools at the house. You know where I live. You know, you didn't do it on purpose. No, sir.
63, did you get my last transmission?
I'll come by. Stop by the house. You know where I be. I'm glad that you are somebody I know.
Hey, hold on. Don't go anywhere yet.
We mean don't go anywhere yet.
Exactly what the fuck I mean. Don't go anywhere yet.
Hey,
listen to what this jackboot thug pig said to this man.
Go anywhere yet.
We mean don't go anywhere yet.
Exactly what the fuck I mean. Don't go
exactly what the fuck I mean.
Anywhere yet.
Hey, what the fuck is it about done? I was.
What?
What happened? He hit me accident.
Right. EMS is not needed.
Looking that way to go.
Did you hear what the copper said? EMS is not needed because I have not attacked him savagely yet for no good reason. Remember, this man got hit by a car on his bike. There's people helping him get his stuff together. He's done.
Hey, really quick, guys. I don't know if you saw his lower back, but it looked like it was all black and blue. So the nexus of this whole case here is it looks like this old dude got hit by a car. And then he did.
and the police came out and they're giving him a hard time.
Well, what happens here, Mike, is because I know more about this story. I lived down there in Houston for some years.
Yes,
Dickinson's just south of there. It's kind of like these little, I don't want to say rural little cities outside the city, but it's pretty much what they are. They pretty much hire the low-life scum, jackboot thug pigs that can't make it in a big city.
Yeah.
They usually go to local colleges to get their peace officer cards because they can't go to a real academy. In this case, this guy was accidentally hit by a car on a bike by somebody he knew from the neighborhood, who basically told the guy, I'm glad I got hit by somebody I know. Come by and see me by the house. We'll take care of you. Because I think the guy might be like homeless or just living on a low budget. And, obviously he got some groceries and everything. And in reality, the fact that the cop even talked to this guy that way, I mean, he's the victim. And I noticed that in Texas because this has actually happened to me and a few other people that I do know. For some reason, the cops here, like, literally what I like to call victim shame the victims and treat them like shit when they're actually victims and they should be sympathetic and empathetic to the crime that's happened to them. This guy did absolutely nothing. He doesn't want to press charges. He just wants to get his damn groceries in his bike and go. And the cops throwing an F-bomb just off the bat. So, in other words, officer douchebag here. Yeah, JBTP. Yep. Love it.
So
you changed my name to JBTP. Asswipe.
No, man, I wouldn't do that, homie. What
More
you talking
like
about?
Jack Duke Thug. I'm gonna punch
Talking
you.
about Willis. Hey, we got it now. Hold on, let me get this.
Look at my shirt. I'm sorry. Did I offend you, Mike?
So, anyways, we're gonna roll that beautiful bean footage. Yeah, I saw that TV commercial finally. Now I understand the story. God, it took long enough.
And absolutely nothing wrong at all.
What's going on here?
All right, am I through?
No,
What have I got to do?
you got to wait here.
Why does he have to wait there? He is not being given lawful commands. He doesn't have to wait there. He's not filing out a police report based on him being hit by the car.
What for? Tell me.
Till we finish our investigation.
Until they finish their investigation. And where does that come from? Terry versus Ohio. The cops have a right to detain you to investigate you. Put it in the comment section. OTVO.
Investigation? There ain't.
Matter of fact, have a seat.
You already said investigation. There ain't no investigation.
Have a seat on the curb.
Matter of fact, I was out there laying.
Have a seat on the curb.
You're not listening to me.
Yeah, he's not listening to him. That's the victim of being hit by the car.
Yep.
He just wants to go home. Put it in the comment section. JBTP. Put it in the comment section.
Put it in the comments right now.
I mean, he hit me, and I thought he saw me.
So that's it. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's the whole thing right there. This should be over right here.
Look at his lower back, man. It looks all bruised up.
Have a seat on the curb.
Now, hold on a second. Terry versus Ohio is a case that I have studied so in depth, so detailed. Terry versus Ohio does not say that I have to sit on a curb. Never heard of that. Put a one in the chat if you never heard of that. I've never heard of Terry versus Ohio from 1968 saying detainment equals I get to be forced to sit on the curb. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that anywhere. I can't understand why in the world cops get to say, hey, you go sit on the curb. I'm not going to sit on the curb. You're not my daddy. I'm your boss, jackboot thug pig. I'm in charge of you. I pay your salary. You work for me, bud.
I'm going to look for my stuff, young man.
All right, turn around.
Come on now, wait a minute.
Hey, relax.
What are you doing?
Why is he grabbing the victim? Why is he putting his hands on the victim? He's looking for his stuff that flew out of the cart of his bike. Why is he touching this man?
Hey,
You're gonna have a seat. Sit down.
I'll try to have a seat if you'll let go of me. You're not
About to have a permanent seat right here.
Right there. Right there. When the cop slammed his head into the car, the man got a brain bleed.
Put your hands behind your back.
Is that the police lights that are making his lower back look bruised?
Now, he's not dead just yet. Just wait. There's more. There's a lot more here. The entire system fails him. There's no what I call SOC, standard of care.
Well, there is. It's an abusive standard of care. So really quick, that's kind of interesting that Chille would talk about standard of care, because so under negligence law or tort law, everybody owes everyone else a reasonable degree of care. But when you're trained like a police officer, you owe a heightened duty of care in certain factual scenarios. For example, when effectuating an arrest. And clearly that was excessive force. What ended up, you could tell that the officer, correct me, tell me what you think too, BZ, but you can tell that the officer is treating this old man with contempt. And, this guy could be a Vietnam vet, a war veteran, screwed up guy, and the guy's being treated bad because he's a bum, basically. Do you think that's a fair summation, BZ?
Well, here's the deal. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Oh, you look kind of like that Brian guy. You look like him.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
Class. Bottom line is you don't know who you got in front of you. You don't know what they're capable of. You don't know what kind of training or mental state they're in. I was in the military. We all deal with our levels of mental PTSD and craziness, as I guess you could call it. You don't know what mindset somebody's in, and when somebody's actually a victim, you should have some sort of empathy or sympathize with the person and show some compassion. And maybe if this guy had talked to this guy a little bit differently, maybe tactfully, maybe he could have gotten the guy to just agree to stay there while they got him some medical care, call an ambulance, get his information, and really bottom line, I mean, what investigation? The guy got hit by a car. This guy admits to it. This guy doesn't want to press charges. The next question should be, would you like medical, sir? I mean, if he says no, then there really is no crime.
Right. And so, and police have no duty to even show up at a crash site. So police have no duty to protect individuals. There's very limited
What's
situations.
there to protect? What's there to protect? The damage is already done.
And so typically they have no duty to even come out and do an accident investigation report. I mean, you can ask them to come out, and if they have time, they sometimes will, sometimes they won't. But when they show up, you certainly don't expect them to body slam one of the victims, right?
Oh, no, in Texas, you better, because that's the first thing they're going to do.
It's crazy.
Dude, it's Texas. It's shoot first, ask questions later.
I just have such a hard time believing that.
Bro, wait till you see the audit from yesterday. I'm surprised I didn't get slammed, okay?
We need to bring our cop buddy back on to do have him go over it too and see what he thinks.
Oh, man, I've been, just so you guys know, I've been in touch with Ryan quite frequently. We go over videos all the time.
Get him back on, man.
He's been having a lot of personal things going on in his life with a death in his family and some other things. So I he would like to come back on. It's something we've discussed. I think I'm bringing him more to the light side of the Rebel Alliance here. He's getting away from that Death Star mentality. But it's good to have another person that can more so either be neutral or come to the side with the understanding of how they do things psychologically. So that way it's like I said on this audit that I did yesterday. It's a playbook, and I've been saying this all the time. There's 4 things that the cops do. They ask, they demand, they intimidate, and they force. And you just saw that. Again, we just saw this with this elderly man. He asked him once. He demanded him twice. He got close and intimidated him. And then he head slammed him into the car.
Let's see what Chille says.
The guy's still knocked out.
63. Go ahead, rolling ambulance.
Now they need an ambulance. Originally, the man got hit by a car, and then the jackboot thug pig called in that they didn't need an ambulance, but now he attacked the victim. and now they need an ambulance because this guy's not going to need an ambulance. He's going to need a morgue.
Yeah, it just really quick, you know, I don't know if any of you guys like do judo or BJJ or even people who've taken wrestling, but when your uke is unconscious, you lift their legs up. You don't put them up this way on their. You don't lift them up. You don't raise them up. That was an improper medical procedure there.
Well, when you have a suspect in custody, okay.
Yeah.
Now this is a victim in custody. I'm going to call it like that. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a vic, not a sick. You're supposed to immediately lay them on their sides,
yeah,
or sit them up so they don't have an issue with breathing and stuff like that. However, the fact that he was slammed into his head that way, the one thing he should have been done is been rolled on his side until medical showed up. You don't want to sit him up with a brain injury like that.
Yeah.
You don't want to sit him on his back. You don't want to sit him on his stomach. You want to make sure he stays on his side. But the one thing I don't understand is every time they force somebody or they hurt somebody, why do they always got to cuff them in the back and like literally like just leave them on the ground until medical gets there? Why can't they just cuff them in front and roll them on their side or something until? Why is it always got to be the back? I mean, they're knocked out for crying out. I mean, they handcuff dead people behind their backs. I don't really get that.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Well, so in this case, because he's
an old man, dude. It's not like he's 35 and built like Chille. You know, he's an old fragile man calling this guy a young man trying to be polite, and this guy's no threat.
Yeah, and in this case, since the officer appears to have exceeded the allowable use of force, and I say that because ultimately, you know, a judge or a jury is going to have to make that finding. But, you know, we're all the finders of fact for purposes of this video. And I think it's fair to say that he exceeded the use of force. And by doing that, he basically became responsible for that man. And that man is in his custody. And now he does owe that man a duty. And he owes that man a duty, not just a reasonable care, but a heightened duty of care. And that duty would include rendering first aid at this point. And we see that, in my opinion, being someone highly experienced in medicine, because that's part of my practice is understanding medicine, and also, you know, the military, as well as being in martial arts, that I just believe that is an improper, medically, it was medically improper for the officer to sit him up like that. And so now the officer, we see that he's exceeded the use of force, and we see that he's also breached his duty of care when it comes to taking care of this guy that he's injured. At least that's what I'm seeing so far. So you see the makings of a pretty solid negligence lawsuit / intentional tort battery type of lawsuit. Not
hey,
just
Mike, before you hit play, can you zoom in on this guy with the pad? It looks like almost like he's smiling.
He sure does, doesn't he?
He looks like he's getting off on this.
Yeah, and what's sad is he probably is. That's
Is there a way you can zoom in on that guy's, like, bring it up to the screen?
That's as close as it'll let me do it. What do you guys think? It looks like he's just having a good time.
Looks like he's smiling.
Yeah. Let me roll this bean footage, guys. Hey, by the way, give me a bunch of ones if you're happy to hear Chille's voice again. I really think that he did the best cop watch breakdown videos of anybody. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. By the way, I spoke with Chille today, and we'll talk about that in a little while. And I'll be on his show tomorrow night talking about stuff, and I'm trying to get BZ to come with.
Huh?
Yeah.
Breaking at this hour, a Dickinson police sergeant is facing charges. Yesterday, a grand jury indicted Sergeant Michael Kinsley for injuring a 65-year-old man during an arrest 2 years ago. The sergeant's body camera captured him throwing the man to the ground, causing a brain bleed. He died a year later. Kinsley could face probation or up to 10 years in prison.
For the jackboot thug pigs who are watching this, this is how we see you. We see you as some sort of sovereign citizen that is above the law and will not face any repercussions. And just so you know, they could abolish qualified immunity in every state. They've already done it in 4 different places: New Mexico, Connecticut, NYPD, and Colorado. Those 4 places have abolished qualified immunity. And how much difference has abolishing qualified immunity done in those places? 0, because of Terry versus Ohio policy of officer safety above all of your civil liberties. Just wait till you see how the system treats this man when they take him down to the dungeon.
That sergeant is now on leave without pay. But we have spoken to these relatives. They are angry, and they believe that this case shows corruption. That's Michael Skurlock.
You don't own me.
Being questioned after a minor bike crash.
Put your hands behind your back.
The officer handcuffing him is Michael Kinsley, now charged with official oppression and injury to an elderly person.
Reliving and thinking about what we saw in the video and how Michael begged for help and he didn't get any.
Come on.
The encounter continues as Skurlock is taken to the Dickinson jail, where you can see he struggles to walk.
Just sit right there on the bench for me.
Police later dropped him off at home without taking him to the hospital, according to his sister.
I called the Dickinson Police Department and they told me they really couldn't find any information in the computer.
Relax.
What are you doing?
Hey.
Skurlock spent the next several months in the hospital, then died. His cause of death from the medical examiner was unrelated to the fall, but relatives believe it contributed. As for Kinsley, he was originally cleared of wrongdoing after a police department internal investigation.
Of course.
And later
Look
even
at that, cuffing up a guy who's completely unconscious.
promoted to sergeant.
Did you hear that? Did you hear this?
After a police department internal investigation, and later even promoted to sergeant. But city officials started investigating after complaints and referred the case to the Galveston County District Attorney last year. Now, 2 years later, Sergeant Kinsley is facing charges.
If you have any humanity at all or compassion, you're going to feel it's going to make you sick.
Look at that. Look at that. Just so unbelievable. Take a look at him. Just take a second and just stare at him. That man had a life. That man had dreams and visions and hopes. And this man, he truly wanted to be, he just wanted to live. You heard him. He just said, I'll sit down on the curb if you just give me a second. And the cop didn't give him a second. Here's the jail video.
Come on.
He's got a brain bleed, folks. There's blood.
You got a car, don't you? A car for what? To get me home. No, I don't have a car to get you home in. Come on.
This man here should be charged with PN, police negligence.
Absolutely.
Or prison guard negligence, PGN, prison guard negligence 101, prison guard negligence 102, a criminal code, because this man clearly is not functioning properly, but this man provides no standard of care.
Mr. Skurlock, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to a lawyer. You have the right to have a lawyer present in any interview at the place you're going for. You have the right to terminate any interview.
What's he arrested for? What are they reading him his rights for?
Exactly. What
Any
for?
time. You don't have to make a statement, but I must warn you, any statement you make can will be used against you. You're charged with public intoxication on the set of bond of 581.
Public
Can you make bond,
intoxication?
I take that as a
So, I mean, that's okay. So let's play devil's advocate here. All right. Let's say the guy was drinking. We know that a lot of vagrants and homeless people drink. Let's just play devil's advocate, right, BZ? So maybe he was drunk. But did that form the basis of the officer slamming him on the asphalt? Of course it didn't. And the guy that hit him didn't even want to follow through with any kind of a charge or anything.
Public intoxication. How does he know he was drunk? He didn't do a sobriety test. The only thing he got was a brain bleed out of it.
Well, you know, they don't have to do a sobriety test to allege that someone is under the influence or intoxicated, unfortunately. officers.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the disorderly conduct freaking charge.
Yeah, well, right. And so the problem is, guys, is whenever officers blow their tops and exceed the acceptable use of force, their go-to is to always file a charge against you for, resisting, obstructing, delaying, or they'll come up with an ancillary charge like public
disorderly or trespassing.
Right. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So, but I think we can all see that this was pretextual. It was done to justify what the officer did, because the officer didn't like it that the old codger was talking back. I mean, what do you guys think? Give me a bunch of ones if you think this guy received the death penalty for talking back to a cop.
Mike, I know their go-to is disorderly and trespassing because I cut them off on disorderly yesterday, but they tried to get me on trespassing.
Yeah, man, that you know it. That's what they do. It's really terrible.
But guess what? When you know their playbook, you just pull the John Madden play of the year and call an audible. Done. And I'll teach you all how to do that later.
Yeah, and one of the commenters says he's all mixed up in the head. How do you expect him to know his rights? Yeah,
well,
the guy just got slammed on his head.
Getting slammed in the head could also be confused for being drunk.
Of course, that's the whole point. But we know that those were pretextual. Now, here's something that I want everybody to pay close attention to. Of course, the coroner, another government employee, determined that the cause of death was unrelated to the bleeding on the brain. Interesting. What do you guys think about that?
Think the sheriff told him to say whatever he wanted him to say?
Yeah, these small towns like Dickinson, Texas. It's crazy. And,
dude, it's backwoods. Dickinson is literally like 6 miles off of I-45 going out towards Galveston.
It's just unbelievable.
It's Podunk, Texas, man. Podunk.
And there's nobody out there that I've ever seen that can do what Chille does. I mean, when I watch his videos, I could spend a whole weekend watching him. He is really good. He's got his mic is really good too, by the way, guys. If you guys know how to do a mic like that, let me know. I'd love to have his sound.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to tell you right now, like, I love Chille. I love how he goes like berserk and tells them.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now, he tries that in Texas.
Yeah.
He will get locked up before he can get out. I'm an autodidactic constitutional law scholar out of his mouth.
I believe it.
They will handcuff him faster than cowboys can get kicked off a bull or rope a damn calf.
We know that Nevada's not much different.
They at least have a little bit more patience. They at least give you the parent class before you get borked.
Well, the next mission that Chille and I were going to take was down to Uvalde to interview the woman who had her children taken away by the Child Protective Services because she had rescued her children, escaped the handcuffs, climbed over the fence and rescued her kids as the cowardly Uvalde police pepper sprayed parents who tried to rescue their kids. So think about that. That's something that we were going to do together with Dick Heller, and that never happened. And so it's just it's almost nostalgic to watch these videos. I mean, just check out how Chille narrates. I mean, what a showman. He really drives it home better than anybody I've ever seen.
No.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What do we do?
You get the last ratio.
Okay, payment plan or this?
Hey, Mike, I have another question.
Sure. What's up, brother?
Hey, so since you're licensed in Texas, and can you explain this to the folks? When you get arrested, almost anywhere I've ever seen and been, when you're placed under arrest and in those handcuffs and charged by the cops, they always inform you of your Miranda rights. Now, I noticed the one thing that they don't do in Texas is you don't get read your Miranda rights for like 3 days until you go in front of a judge.
Yeah, and they don't always do it. And there's a body of law out there. In fact, Alan Beck and I are going to do a show about it because there's some misconceptions. But we'll do that in another show. But it's usually not a basis to disallow the arrest or conviction. So there's exceptions to every rule out there, guys.
Just a question.
So let's go ahead and keep watching this bad chicken.
I'm only asking.
How am I here?
Doing it now. Yesterday.
I got beat on this today.
Having you sign that, fill that out. If it has any information, we'll go from there.
Man, I ain't got no way.
No, you're getting out.
Look at that. Look at that. Michael Scurlock cannot function, but yet these authoritarian jackboot thug pigs don't care. I would charge them both with PN 101, police negligence 101. Are they a felony? Absolutely. When a man's life is on the line. PN 105 is a felony. PN 110 is a misdemeanor. There has to be criminal codes and statutes attached to these pigs.
I'm right here for you. Let me get in one of the best you can.
Man, I can't see.
He can't see, he said.
Huh?
I can't see.
Watch.
Just sit right there on the bench for me.
He has to hold him up.
I think
And
this
watch
one
what he does.
I think this is.
Yeah, right.
He just had to hold the man up. And then he says, go sit on the bench, and turns and walks away. My God. How can you watch this and accept this system of oppression?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
Oh, my
Okay,
God.
hey, you're gonna have to be quiet.
What the hell?
Oh, he's clearly having a medical episode. And instead of offering any kind of standard of care, these jackboot thug pigs are telling him that he has to be quiet. Even though the one pig had to hold him up a moment ago, now when he goes and collapses and hollers because he can't stand upright, they tell him to shut up, that he's going to have to keep it down. Understand, there is blood draining inside of his brain right now. Shortly after he leaves, he goes to the hospital, is in a coma for 9 months, and then he dies. And the only person being charged was the pig who slammed him headfirst into the car. And then the medical examiner says the fall didn't have anything to do with it. Really? Because I thought that he was riding his bike down the road. He even got hit by a car and he was perfectly fine. Got up from that, was going to get up and pedal home. But then the cop slamming his head into the side of the car kills him. But now they're going to find an excuse. Who thinks they're going to find an excuse at the trial? Who thinks they're going to find an excuse? I'm just wondering. Who thinks, put a 1 if you think they're going to find an excuse. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the new.
Yeah. I just want to keep that image up there because that's the image that
DeleteLawz Friday cop card.
The Black Ranger with the is that the cop card or the passenger? Is it the so there's two of them. There's
there's a driver and a non-driver card.
Yeah, and I have them and I like them. I think they need to be updated though because the laws are always changing and we're always learning more. Cool
Actually,
stuff.
you know what? I got an idea for Chille when he gets out for these trifolds. I actually thought about getting with Chille and since I've been researching a lot of circuit districts, actually making them circuit targeted depending on where you live. Because we all know different circuits are different, they got different states in them, and some case law may work here where it may not work there. I know the 3rd and 4th circuits are pretty tough on stuff and won't basically side with the other circuits on the case law I've been looking at. But it seems like the odd ones, other than the 3rd one, usually line up together. Like the 1st, the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, and the 11th and 13th circuits usually all line up together. But I mean, what do you think? Instead of doing just a one trifold, like blanket the whole, do it circuit specific, so that way the case law is actually on the trifold for that circuit.
Well, I think that you could have a general one that is applicable everywhere that just covers a few things, right? Like Fifth Amendment, that kind of thing. And you could maybe have a more specific one.
I'm talking about the trifold that he has now. So basically, like Turner versus Driver 2017, right to film the police is in the 5th district, which is down here in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. But then you've also got 148G in California, and I think it's Forsyth is the case. I might be wrong on that one, but that one is, I believe the 9th circuit, which is where you're at out in California, Nevada, Idaho, Washington, all that in Colorado, right? Isn't that Ninth Circuit?
Yeah, but you don't need to rely on those because the Supreme Court's already found that you have a right to record. But I'm just saying, like, you could get more specific.
I'm just using that as an example. That's all I was.
Issues for sure.
Because like that Commonwealth versus Barr about the odor of marijuana not being probable cause, that won't fly down here in Texas because they're fighting that right now on a different case law where they overruled that.
Yeah, well, there could be a jurisdictional split at some point, and then hopefully you'd think that the Supremes are going to hear it, right? You know, once you have some disagreements between the more liberal and the more conservative districts, then it'll go up.
Hey, with the way I'm going with the post office, we may have to take that back to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
I mean, you said Alan Beck does Second Amendment federal, right? If we can have him jump ship from second to first, we'll be all right.
Yeah. So basically, with respect to this video that we just did, this poor old guy, this dude,
is drunk and dead.
Since he's homeless, and we don't know much about him.
Well, we don't even know if he's homeless, Mike. We're just assuming
we're assuming that he is. But yeah, BZ could be right. But we do, lawyers especially do tend to make generalizations, especially if you worked in criminal law, because you run into guys like this all the time. But assuming arguendo that this guy's homeless, it'll be difficult to track down his next of kin. But if you do, you'll probably find out that he did not have a close relationship with them. So although his survivors probably would have what's called a wrongful death claim, the value of a claim like that probably wouldn't be that much unless he's one of these old misers who's a billionaire, right? You just never know. But generally speaking, a homeless person, they're not going to have a strong relationship, and the value of a wrongful death case is going to be based in large part on the love, care, affection, and support that the decedent had provided for someone who's a survivor. And so because there probably isn't something like that here, there probably wouldn't be a very strong wrongful death claim, but there would be one. Now, there would also be a potential claim for elder abuse. Now, I don't know about civil elder abuse here because I don't know if the relationship between the officer and the victim is strong enough to support an elder abuse claim in Texas. I got to research that more. But in California, typically, in order to sue for elder abuse, the survivor, I don't even know if the survivor could bring a claim, but I think they might be able to, might be parasitic. But typically the abused elder, the abused victim, would have to be under the care of a caretaker. And a cop's not always going to be a caretaker. However, after slamming him and rendering medical aid and putting him in cuffs, he could be classified potentially as a caretaker. Now, there's also potential Texas statute for elder abuse, for criminal elder abuse. And that's where I think that if I was the AG or the district attorney, I would consider bringing some kind of an elder abuse claim. And I believe there's also federal, let me take a look here. And there's also a federal elder and financial abuse claim that can be brought. And so remember, we have, the federal jurisdictions that are within each state. So, there could be overlapping jurisdictions. In some cases, the feds may decide they want to take a crack at this guy for violating the old man's civil rights, and they can bring other claims besides just civil rights claims, like potentially elder abuse. And so when I bring a lawsuit against the police for beating up an old guy or committing a wrongful death against an old guy, what I typically am going to be doing is I'm going to do what's called a mixed bag pleading. And so I'm going to bring a wrongful death claim, and I could bring a wrongful death claim along with the civil rights, but I would definitely couch it as civil rights because it's an LEO, it's a cop. So I'm going to be thinking, okay, I'm going to bring a wrongful death claim. Do I want to bring it in state court or do I want to bring it in federal court? Well, we know that at least in California, you can get a civil win without a unanimous jury, but you can't get a civil win in federal court without a unanimous. You have to have a unanimous jury. So you have to think about that. And then most guys aren't comfortable in federal court with respect to bringing personal injury claims. Most civil rights lawyers aren't real good at bringing battery claims and stuff like that. But what I would do is I would bring a Monell claim. I would allege that that department has a history of the same type of abuse. I would bring a battery. I would bring an assault. I would throw in the kitchen sink on elder abuse if it applied. Obviously, you don't want to bring a claim if it's questionable, because that could be deemed malicious, and you don't want to file malicious claims. You only want to bring actions that you think you can win. So when I say throw in the kitchen sink, I'm thinking stuff like false arrest. I'm thinking, some kind of false imprisonment. I'm thinking battery. And then I'm thinking I want to do a wrongful death lawsuit. And you might want to bring also, in addition to that, a survival action. So a survival action would be a claim that the state can bring, that the estate can bring to get his pain and suffering, because that's something in a wrongful death case you wouldn't be able to get. So if your mom or dad, if that was your mom or dad, his pain and suffering died with him. And so that's why I want to really quick give you.
Mike,
yeah.
Hey, I sent you an email. I basically sent you the link to the elderly abuse laws in Texas. If you just want to maybe just like pull them up and kind of give an example of
I had them up earlier. Unfortunately, I can't open an email in here, but I can just really quick pull up the Texas elder abuse statute. I had it up on my screen a minute.
Yeah, it's 48.002. 48.002.
Yeah, so let me see if I can put that bad chicken up on the screen for you guys.
Guess it's easy when I already have the code pulled up.
And let me see here. Let's put that Zoom. All right, so
I guess
so
that
this would just be.
I guess
so assuming the guy is
2.1.
Assuming that the guy is 65 years of age or older, which he looks like he is. I mean, give me a bunch of ones if you think that the guy is.
Oh, that guy's probably 70 something.
Yeah. Give me a bunch of ones if you think he's older than that, right? Let me see if I can blow that thing up a little bit more.
Blow that bad chicken up.
Blow that bad chicken, yeah. Let me see if that'll get us a little better. All right, hopefully you can see it a little better now. But basically, it just taught. So this is just one of the this is the criminal elder abuse statute. Okay, and so we have to distinguish this when we're going to bring our civil lawsuit. So we're going to bring our civil lawsuit under Texas's civil wrongful death statute, and that's going to be different. And I had all that stuff up on the screen, and then right before this thing was supposed to start, everything crashed. That's why we started a little bit late today. So, but I did have it. And now in this particular case, the statute that BZ has demonstrated for us, that would be for the district attorney or the AG. So they could go after this dude criminally, and they should. And this guy should be charged with murder. That was what we saw is murder, in my opinion. And the fact that people still believe the government when they see that money can buy you, a autopsy report, the coroner's check is being paid by the same people at last time I checked as the cop. So it's no wonder that a lot of people have distrust in the government, and they don't believe anything in the newspapers. They just think they're all part of the same team, and they're all getting paid back and forth by the same people. So, what you got to do is step outside the box and look at what happened to this guy. He basically got dropped on his head, and then he died after he went to the police station, and he's stumbling all over the place. And if he is somebody who drinks a lot, people who drink a lot tend to not stay drunk very long. because their body builds up a resistance to alcohol. So you got to figure it's been a couple hours since this guy's been dropped on his head.
He's also got thinner blood too.
Yeah, and they probably put him in a holding tank for a while. I'm sure they didn't just automatically process him. He probably stinks. They probably manhandled him when they took him out of the police car. We didn't see that footage. But, they just treated him like garbage, and that could be your mom or your dad. And when I see things like that, it just makes me really, really upset. It makes me want to do really mean things. But so let me get back really quick to what wrongful death laws are, because this would be
Mike, I was gonna have you pull up section 71.002. That's the wrongful death suit in Texas.
Okay, so Texas, what's the statute again?
71.002.
Okay, and this is elder abuse. So let me take a look at this bad chicken really quick.
That's wrongful death.
Oh, wrongful death. Got it. So this will be really good because there are no wrongful death statutes at common law. And that's really something that's really, really good for you guys to know. So let me just really quick try to get this prepared for you while we all talk about how we wish that it was Chille that was doing this video, right? And then I could focus on doing other stuff that I like doing, like reaction videos of people
like myself getting arrested or almost getting arrested.
Yeah, like that. So let me make sure this is being shared. You guys see it? All right.
Yeah, it's up there.
All right. So I'm just going to give you guys the rundown on wrongful death. All right. So we never had wrongful death laws at common law. It was deemed to be that the claim died with the decedent. So if somebody killed your husband or whatever, or somebody killed your wife, your only real act that you could take is to try to kill that person. And that's what happened. A pound of flesh was a very common thing, and that carried over. Remember, from England to the colonies into the New World, and the Hatfields and McCoys are the sort of seminal case of blood feuds in the United States. And when I was growing up, we used to watch, cartoons and stuff where they had like Hatfields and McCoys, and it was just really cool. They would do like Bugs Bunny, and I don't know if you guys put it in the comments if you guys remember little skits they did on the Hatfields and McCoys. Everybody knew about the Hatfields and McCoys, and it was a feuding family. One of the family members killed one of the others, and then it just ended up, for, I don't know, over 100 years, this family feuded and killed each other off. And as a reaction to things like that, the different state legislature decided that they would enact what are called wrongful death statutes. And basically it applied negligence law to the death of a loved one. So people would now get a financial award and then not kill the person. And the idea is, well, if the person's alive, they'll be able to pay you back. So that was the idea behind that. But we never had that before. And so as a result, each state is going to have their own wrongful death statute, but they're all very, very similar. And basically what it is you generally aren't going to get pain and suffering because that died with the victim. And that's why you would pursue a survival action. But in this case, it's an action for actual damages arising from an injury that caused someone's death. I mean, that makes sense so far. Give me a bunch of ones if you understand what I'm talking about. Now, a person is liable for damages, and damages are simply a way of demonstrating value. So if it costs $100 every day to go visit Disneyland, and now you can't visit Disneyland every day because you're in pain every day, is it worth $100 every day to be in pain? What's the converse? And so that's what your damages would be for pain and suffering. And okay, but then other types of damages could be your medical bills, your economic losses. So they'll fall into two areas: your general damages or intangible damages. That would be your damages for pain and suffering. And then you would have your special damages, your economic damages, things like medical bills, lost wages, things like that. And those are typically the types of damages that you'll get in a wrongful death case. In addition to that, you'll get other types of damages for things like loss of love and affection and things like that. So if the person, so a person is liable for damages if they cause an individual's death, if they're a proprietor, hirer, blah, 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 someone who transport passengers, or the injury was caused by the person's agent, servant, or wrongful act, neglect, carelessness, blah, blah, blah. Person is liable for damages arising from an injury that causes the death of an individual if they're a receiver, trustee, or other person in charge of or in control of, all these different things. Anyways, you got to go in and read the statute. But it also talks about servants and agents. And so it's a little bit more it's a little bit more extreme and extensive than what I see in the California wrongful death statute. But just to let you know, typically this thing about servant or agent, what that means is vicarious liability. So if you have somebody who works for you and they off somebody and they off that person while in the course and scope of their employment for you, you could face liability. Generally, maybe not for the wrongful death itself, but you could. But generally for something like negligent hiring or negligent supervision, that type of thing. So, but there's vicarious liability for the acts of a servant done on behalf of their master, unless there's something called a frolic and detour. And that typically means when someone's, like let's say you're a pizza delivery guy, right? And you're delivering pizza, but then you decide to pull over and smoke a bowl. And then as you're driving off, you run over some little kid on a tricycle. Well, your employer probably wouldn't have liability for that, right, guys? Because you frolicked and you detoured from your original job of delivering the pizza. However, what's interesting is if you run over a little kid in your Starbucks pizza, your Straw Hat pizza, right, and you run over and kill a little kid, well, sometimes the damages will find liability. What do I mean by that? What I mean is when there is something super extreme, a big company like Straw Hat or Shakey's or whatever the pizza company is may want to pay that claim, even though they could argue that this kid was smoking a bowl and that they're not liable, but it could hurt their public image. And so sometimes you'll see cases like the George Floyd case. I mean, any other case, if the media hadn't promoted him as some kind of a public hero, that case would have never gotten more than $1 probably for a wrongful death settlement in the real world. But because the news media propped him up as a hero, he was able to get, $30 million for the survivors. So there's politics involved in these cases as well. It's not just a straight, this is how much your case is worth. And this is why I always tell people like BZ and the other cop watchers and auditors that they need to be civil when they deal to the best of their abilities with these cops, because I don't want them locked up. I don't want to have to visit them in a jail to try to keep their spirits up. So BZ, what do you have to say about any of this stuff? Bored yet?
I'm sorry. I'm waking up from my nap. What?
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Actually, a lot of times, to be honest with you, the stuff that a lot of the stuff doesn't get publicized without people like us or Chille or Brian from Here's the Deal that actually publicize these things. The mainstream media is only going to put out what the politicians in the police department are going to tell them. So, we already know that internal affairs is already covering their own asses. It's because of things like this. They're going to try to hide and sweep everything under the rug so they don't got to pay out, and that way that officer keeps his job or his pension or whatever. I mean, I'm seeing it a lot down here in Texas. I don't know about the rest of the country, but I just feel like they have a get out of jail free card themselves. It's called that thin blue line.
That's for sure. It's pretty wild. I just hope that you guys understand, I don't mind doing these cop watch videos and stuff, but I want also, as we do these things, to use them examples so I can teach you the law, because I know that law classes are super boring. So at least hopefully you got an opportunity to see the difference between a civil rights case, a straight battery or assault case, elder abuse, and then wrongful death. So In this particular case, I would probably file this in a Texas federal district court. I would not trust the local Texas state courts, especially in this county, because I would think they're just a bunch of podunks, and they're probably going to have a jury with a bunch of, snaggletooth jury that probably has these relatives of these cops on it. So I wouldn't really feel comfortable bringing it in state court. So I would bring a case like this probably in a Texas federal court, but I would try to bring my state claims with me. And so I would bring civil rights violations for things like false imprisonment violations, Fourth Amendment violations and things like that. And as well as the standard common law torts of, assault, battery, like I said, false imprisonment. And then I would also try to bring, if possible, a Texas civil elder abuse statute if it applies. And again, I did not have enough time today to prepare to do a full breakdown on the law. But as a general rule, and I always try to speak generally because you're all in different states, right? So it doesn't really do me any good to just discuss California or Texas law, but as a general rule, every state is going to have its own wrongful death statute. I believe New Orleans would be the only one that doesn't. I think they don't. And I think that's because they were under Napoleonic law. And you can Google the Louisiana Purchase to learn about the treaty that allowed Napoleonic law to stay in place there. And if you know also that, all the colonies were basically their own countries. They were considered to be independent countries, and the federal government was never supposed to have this kind of power. So if you understand those underpinnings, it's easier for me to explain these things to you. But as a general rule, every state is going to have its own different types of wrongful death laws and even elder abuse statutes. But most of the criminal codes and most of the modern negligence laws, they derive originally from English common law. And then you'll, of course, see that they applied English common law negligence principles to wrongful death. And so I would bring this case in a federal court, and I think that he would have a high probability of his survivors or his estate winning on liability. Now, the issue, guys, is going to be damages. And here, the damages are typically, again, based upon, in wrongful death anyways, what the survivor would have been able to contribute to the family. And then these other claims like battery and assault and things like that, they would probably be couched in a survival action or something to that effect. And whether or not some of these claims die with him is going to be based upon a state-by-state basis in how the laws are interpreted. So I would obviously want to look at all these laws a lot closer and see which ones can survive like a 12B6 motion or a demur motion to strike, something like that. So there's a lot to it, guys. Now, does anybody have any questions in the sidebar about any of this? Because if not, I'm going to go into my conversation with Chille, and we'll talk about what we'll do tomorrow night on the DeleteLawz channel. So I'm going to look over here. Yeah, so Forrest. Well, I'm not seeing a whole lot, so I know there's a little bit of a delay usually, but we're typically getting around 30 to 40 people in here, and I'm not expecting millions of people. What I'm looking for is a core group of people who want to learn the law and care about their country, and it looks like slowly we're building that. And
well, I also think it's a little late too, Mike. So most people
you
are
do?
pretty much probably signed off and stuff. And
gotcha. All right. Well, yeah, it's been really hard for me, guys. I've been really booked up in the daytimes. Maybe within the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to break away. Now, keep in mind that we're going to be doing that a charity event on Saturday, coming up on Saturday on the 18th in Conroe, Texas, which is Houston. And I'll be there with the Leathernecks Motorcycle Club, a lot of combat veterans, a lot of Marines. We're going to have at least one Navy SEAL who is also a Navy combat corpsman, highly decorated, squared away guys. This particular guy, I think he went through buds with Eddie Gallagher. So that's kind of cool to be able to meet someone who hung out with Eddie. And then, so we're going to be raising funds to try and get legislation passed for the military veterans who are suffering from PTSD and cancer on the West Coast bases, who are subjected to toxic chemicals and things like that. Because right now, only people on the East Coast bases are getting that protection, and burn pit victims and things like that. And we're also looking into these radio packs. It appears as though those are causing a lot of tumors and cancer on the backs of the radio and comm guys. In the last couple of wars that we've had, several of my friends who were in MARSOC are complaining of this as being something that's a really big deal. Because, of course, those guys always have combat air controller dudes with them with all this heavy equipment. So we're looking into stuff like that. And, I really care about the vets probably more than anybody, because I know that if something happened to me, especially Marines, that they would always look after my wife and my kids as brothers. And you won't find that in any other branch in the military. So this really hits home for me, that a lot of these women give up their careers to take care of their husbands who suffer from all these ailments. And I want to make sure that they'll have the right to sue for wrongful death, to be able to get money to survive after their husbands die, because the VA generally stops issuing payments to the wives. Now, that's not always the case. If the wife, apparently, if she went through the whole term with him and it was a natural discharge and then sickness came later, I believe that the wife does get some benefits. But generally, most guys don't do their 30 or their 40 or whatever, guys. They get out after 4 years and then they get cancer, or maybe they do 8. Maybe they're an operator. They did 9 or 10 years. They got out. But it's always the same. They get sick, and their wives, because they're squared away women, that's why they married a Marine, because they were squared away and good women to begin with. They're the ones who really get screwed in the end. And it really just pisses me off, because anybody who's willing to give up their career to take care of a guy like that deserves more from the government. And now we've heard these stories that they're prioritizing the VAs to accept illegal aliens, so they can redistrict everything for political reasons. And they're just throwing the veterans aside. At least that's what I hear. So everybody give BZWatchdog a bunch of ones for showing up tonight. I know we've gone for about an hour and people start falling asleep. Now, I apologize for these shows being later in the evening. I encourage you to like and subscribe and save them for your friends, and, listen to them when you drive your car or when you're out cruising around. I will make good faith efforts to get back to the 3:00 p.m. Pacific shows, but it's been really, really hard. I do run a law practice, but I have been making best efforts to stay on top of Chille. So Chille basically is saying that he wants me to do a show tomorrow night, and he has some things that he wants me to address. So I'll do that. But I want to know what kinds of things you guys would like me to talk about while I'm on his channel. Do you have a reaction video you want me to go over for you? Do you have a law that you'd like me to break down? Do you have any kinds of issues that you'd like me to discuss? You can ask BZWatchdog, or anybody has any issues, reach out to him, and hopefully he'll be able to come on tomorrow night. So, BZ, do you have anything that you want to share with the audience?
No, just watch out for these audits. I'm putting out the real clean audits. I've had this last 10 days or 9 days or whatever, just because they've been easy edits while I'm waiting for my public information records and FOIAs to come back. But yeah, they're gonna get better. There's some things that have happened to me in the last 10 days. I'm almost about to be a real auditor, because I almost got arrested yesterday. So you're not a real auditor until you get your first arrest. So just saying.
Well, I hope that's not the case, but
I'm joking. If you can audit and you can do a Texas two-step around these dumb Texas cops like I have, you just get better each time you interact with them, because you start becoming like an autodidactic constitutional law scholar based on Chille's learnings and teachings. That dude, I mean, I've been watching Chille for about 18 months or better. And I cannot believe how much of the law he has put out there. And then I turned around and gone and researched it. So, I mean, I actually kind of miss having him up there. I'm glad you're teaching us some stuff about the law. It's kind of filling in the in-betweens while we wait for Chille to be released from his political prison asylum with the crazies and the lunatics. But yeah, just keep watching. I've got some really good stuff coming out, man. I've been hardcore boots on the ground for the last 2 weeks, so I kind of miss being out there in the field. So that's the reason that Mike and I have agreed that, you know, I'll come on once or twice a week or whatever, because I've got a lot going on with my time I'm taking off to go audit out the field. I'm actually taking a day off of work to go audit. So, and I'm not even monetized, so I'm losing income. But you know, you guys need to see what's really going on out there, and not just putting out videos where you know, people are doing it for clicks, likes, and views. It's not about that. I'm trying to expose the crap, and you know, whether it's just bad leadership and bad training, I want to expose that. That's important, guys. But hey, I want to put this out there though, Mike. If anybody has got any videos, okay, of any cop watching, I don't care how far away you are, how close you are, you got any stuff you want to send me that you want to have viewed or researched to where I can, you know, if you don't want to be, how do we put it, confidential informant, I'll keep you quiet. I'll run the lead on that. Take your video and do some public information request and get your exposed cops out there.
What's up, Chuck?
Hey guys, I would love to put Brownie on screen, but dude, he's passed out over there behind me. He already went to bed, and I'm overdue myself. So
yeah, we'll wind it up, guys. I always appreciate this core group. It's always this core group of like 49 people that show up, and they're like the original people who I could tell really care about their country, and they stick with me, and it makes me proud, you know, because I don't care about millions. I've said this before. I'd rather be an army of sheep led by a lion than an army of lions led by a sheep. I want all you guys to be lions and get out there and be sheep herders, because you need to be sheepdogs. There's a lot of people out there who are just begging for leadership and knowledge. And I'm here to teach you the basic things that you need to understand about law. And hopefully I can encourage you to consider choosing the law as a potential career, because we need patriotic people who are willing to test authority and to hold the government accountable, who put their fellow man before money. Because like my dad always told me, you know, if you do a good job, the money will follow. And so I always focused on being the best lawyer that I could be. And then all of a sudden I started making really good money, and I was really happy, but I was never really fulfilled making lots of money. And so it's really nice to be here and just hanging out with regular people, because you remember I grew up as a blue collar guy who just had a love for law.
Who are you calling regular?
So it's really, well, you know what I mean. You guys, Marines are exceptional, but you know what I'm talking about.
I was thinking a little crazy, but
well, you got to be a little crazy to be a gyrene. You got to be a little crazy to want to hold the government accountable, because you know
got to be a little crazy to go into the clutches of possibly the dungeon.
Yeah, they got
death
these
squad
illegal surveillance programs, and you know, trying to look at your politics as a basis to potentially lock you up or hurt your social credit score, potentially even audit you with these 80,000 new people that I wonder what side of the political aisle they vote for. Think about that. So we know the administrative state is at war with people who love the Constitution. And so I really, really appreciate it that you're all coming on the channel and trying to learn about the law, because you need to know how to deal with these people, these road pirates and these other people, when they come and they start trying to investigate you, or AKA initiate a conversation, a contact. Contacts are how they do it. And they have all kinds of laws, statutes, and codes to initiate those contacts. How you handle that contact and what you do could mean the difference between you coming home or you going being buried 6 foot under. And I'm not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form. So Unless BZ has something to say, I'm going to go ahead and close this out.
No, I'm good to go, brother. I got to go hit the sack. My eyes are about to close.
All right. Thanks, Let's OTVO and Chevy and everyone else for showing up. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. And, we'll see you on the other side. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I'm hoping we can come up with a cool little curriculum. But, yeah, they're going to be a little bit later. Just make sure to save it so, we get the count and people know what's going on. And hopefully I'll have some more information from you tomorrow night about what's going on with Chille, okay? All right, Semper Fi, do or die, and I am out of